Let's go to LeetCode 484, find a permutation. For this question, the input is a string S. S has two characters, two different characters, I and D. I means increasing, and D means decreasing. So Si equals I, that is the perm I should smaller than perm I plus 1. And let's return int array. And for this int array, we need to put the number 1 to n into it. Let's take a look at the example. If s equals I, and we know we need to return 1, 2. And example 2, right? Di. So that first, let's see, the element 0 and 1, they are decreasing, and the element 1 and 2, they are increasing. So 213 is a result. It says that both 213 and 312 represent DI, but we need to find the smallest lexical permutation. So the result is 213. So for this question, we need to satisfy two conditions. One is we need to have 1 to n fit the S trains, right? So if there is, for example, I, 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 right? So we know this need to keep increasing, and also 1 to n should put all into the result. And the second condition, the first one is all n number fit the trains. The second condition is that we need to have the lexical smallest, right? So lexical smallest, so the second example, right? So we know 213 is better than 312, smaller than 312. So let's find some kind of strategies. First is that we look at S, right? So if this S, for example, is I, what we're thinking about is we put the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a result, right? So the S length is should be n minus 1, right? And this is n, right? So now, if we have some D's, right? For example, D, we change this one to DDII. So let's think about what should we do? We can think about in order this one to keep the lexical smallest, possibly what are we thinking about that we can reverse, right? So this chain does not meet. So what we do is that we change this part to be 3, 2, 1, right? So let's let's for example keep this kind of S characters. For example, we have some D's after this, right? So we know there are 2 more D's, right? And at the beginning, we put, for example, put 5, 6, 7, right? So by our observation or our strategy is that for this D, right, we should reverse these 3, right? So should be 7, 6, 5, right? So if there are I after this, right, should be 8, right? So what we do is that based on the S, our strategy is based on this S, right? So if there are length n minus 1 characters, right? So we put this kind of integer array from 1 to n, right? Then we find where is the d's here, right? So if there is d segments, we just reverse this part. So how can we find the d segment, right? So we know, let's have for example, we have a pointer called last. So what we thinking about is that we look at the index I, and if the I minus 1 is a D, and I is index I is an I, increasing capital I, right? That means that is the end of a D segment. And also, let's see, if the index is I is a D, and if the I minus 1 index is the capital I, that means this part is the start of the index, right? So we'll see this S, right? This is the S. We'll see, let's look at its index matches. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, right? So we know at this 0, 1, 2, these two, right? So this I, we'll return this is I is the end, right? And also 3, 4, right? And 3, 4, right? So this I is its start, right? So no, this kind of logic, we can write code actually. The only thing we need to care about is that at the end, right, it may have some this. And what we can do is that we can append an I characters to S to fix the last if this is decreasing. Or we can do some special cases for instead of for character from 1 to n minus 1, we can to n, right? Actually, add a special character I to the end, we can handle the last segment, which is dd, right? So let's begin to write code for this. We know for this part, we need to write a reverse function, right? For Java, it is very easy, use a while loop to do the reverse. So let's begin. We know we can have s plus equal to I, right? As a special characters after that. And let's change this one to array because s which array. And let's have its length. We know we append one more, so this thing is array's length. So we will say this result equals new int n, right? For int I equals 0, I smaller than n, I plus plus. So we'll have result I equals I plus 1, right? Now, based on our logic, right, we have a last equals to 0. So what we do is that for int I equals 0, I smaller than n, let's have equals to 1, right? because we need to compare with the previous I plus plus. So I say if array I equals D and array I minus 1 um, equals I, right? Means this is the start, right? So we'll say start equals and I say last, right? We use this kind of to last equals I, okay. So let's say if this is I and I minus 1 is D, then we'll say int start equals last, right? And end equals I, right? So we need to write a function called reverse um, result from start end, right? And in the end, we just return result. And we write our private void reverse. While start smaller than end, int temp equals array start. Array start equals array end. Array end equals temp, right? Start and yeah. So this is a Java solution. Okay. Now we know for Java, right? So we need to have some write our reverse, right? And let's change this one to Python. Yes, actually Python code is very shorter. What we do is that we also add a special character after that, right? And we have n equals length s, right? And what we do is that we'll have result equals list. Here. Python can write this range 1 to n plus 1, right? Because we need to have actual if n is not included, right? And actually for this part, you can also write something like this. I for I in range. Right? This is good as well, right? So there is expression for some kind of range. And we can also write the list range about this. So we have last equals to 0. What we do is that for I in range, so we are from the first, right, to n. Okay. Should have a comma, right? So I say if S I equals D and S I minus 1 equals I, right? Equals I. What we do is that we have last equals I. We will say if S I equals I and S I minus 1 equals D, right? So it means this is end of the segment, right? So what we have end equals I, and we have start equals last, right? And in Python, we can reverse, right? Result start end equals result start end. We can have this one, right? This kind of formula. And in the end, return result. And there is some problem. Trying to see. 1, 2, 3. This one should be +1, right? Because n, we need to include n, right? So we need to have one more index. Okay.